Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in and watching. We are the Real Short Box live edition. My name is Donald. There we go. We got that fixed a little bit. And it switched Jarrett and Kevin's name again, so...
Hey, I'm Jarrett today. Yay!
I'm the pontificator, Kevin.
Or actually, it's Chris and Jarrett. I'm sorry. I got it fixed, though.
Oh,
whatever.
We're good. We're good. Well, thank you for tuning in, guys. We are going to be talking about a lot of fun things. If the background behind me looks a little different, it is because I am actually podcasting from a remote location. Yeah.
Undisclosed location.
Let me move that box up.
Is
there.
it true that you're in Colorado at that secret mountain base that the government has?
Yeah, the time thing where I can tell the time for everybody. The atomic clock. I live there now. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So if everything looks a little bit messy in the background, that's because this is my old bedroom from my primarily teenage years.
Where's your Farrah Fawcett picture?
Right there in the
He's not that
purple.
old.
That's as close as it
He's
gets.
not that old. Come on, Jared. He's not that
He's
old.
timeless, Kevin. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very true. Okay, so great. So let's get started with this. We're going to be talking about our favorite swords. We're going to be ranking them. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes,
so while I do some stuff in the background, if you guys would like to talk about some that did not make the list that you thought should have, or just barely missed the list for a particular reason, go ahead and do so, and then we'll get started after that.
All right, we'll go with our elder statesman. Jared, you go first, sir.
I was just going to say, also, not just our favorite swords, we kind of compiled a list, and we went through this pretty thoroughly, of what we think are kind of 12 of the most iconic swords throughout the years up until modern times. So we wanted to kind of go, we wanted to do modern, we wanted to do very, movies, comics, literature. So we went deep, okay? And you'll even see that with number 12. But I would say my first honorable mention, and I have the hilt right here, is the Count Dooku lightsaber. Now, not so much for like any kind of historical anything. It's a pop culture. To me, it's just the coolest designed lightsaber I've ever seen. It
looks like a vibrator.
Yeah, it looks like a vibrator.
It does?
It also works as one. When you put in the blade, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh.
So Darth Tyrannus's blade is that effective?
Yeah, Count Dookie.
You're like Gollum. It burns us! Jesus.
So yeah, that would be my first honorable mention. Kevin, Chris, you guys want to throw anything out there?
Professor Turner?
Look behind me. There's a sword from the show of the throne behind me. Probably what I think is the most iconic sword on the show of Game of Thrones. Long Claw.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a little bummed that didn't make our list. It's really cool, and it starts the whole. It gives the whole. According to the show, it gives them the whole way to kill White Walkers.
Valyrian steel, that beautiful Valyrian steel.
Because of that sword, Jon Snow saving Mormont and being gifted it and having a cool wolf hilt on it, and yeah, one of the Valyrian. I think there's like one for each house has one. A lot of them are lost, and so it's one of the few of 7 left. Yeah, it's a really cool looking sword and really important to the story. And thought it should have made a list, but it didn't, based on much more modern, more of a modern sword, so not quite as iconic as a lot of them. But yeah, really cool sword, and most important out of all the swords in that book / TV series.
Even more so than Ice, which would get split into 2 different swords later on.
Yeah, because the only thing that Ice does is really don't they kill Ned with it, right? Don't they kill him with his own sword?
Right.
I mean, it's Valyrian. Yeah, we got 2 more Valyrian steel swords. But it's not used push the story forward, and Long Claw's used. He kills a White Walker with it, and then all the whites die, and so that's used as okay. This is how it's the magical sword. It's you got to have that sword that to kill the bad guy, which we have a lot of those in this list of. You got to have that particular sword to do this thing.
Hey, Frank.
And this was that sword.
Hey, Maria. Thanks for joining.
Hello, everyone. Plus, it has a cool hilt. I love that hilt.
That's a really cool hilt, yeah.
With the dire wolf on it.
Was Valerian like Beskar for Game of Thrones? Was that like?
In a way, yes. In a way, you can say that. Very, very hard, very difficult to come by.
Very difficult.
People can forge it properly.
Yeah.
Should be posted, guys. So whenever you want to grab it, feel free.
All right, I'm on it.
I mean the post. It's not the Blue Beetle this time, guys. So that's kind of amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe it has something to do with you in an undisclosed location. Maybe that's why it's happening.
Maybe.
Yeah, Jared. It was from it was from a fallen kingdom where they didn't make them anymore. There was no way you couldn't get the steel. There was nobody there that could forge them. Really. So like very few people knew how to do it. So they were super popular.
By the way, it's based on a real metal from ancient times called Damascus steel. That's where George R.R. Martin got the idea from. It's just very similar. They don't know how to actually duplicate it. And it also has like a similar property. It's a beautiful looking sword and it's very effective. So it's got a little interesting little fact there.
Just a quick honorable mention behind me. The 80s, or no, it might have even been 70s cartoon, Thundar the Barbarian. Thundar had the Sun Sword, which was like Thundar was like a good mix of like sci-fi. It was like sword and sorcery, but also sci-fi, like that kind of early 80s, late 70s, where they would like mix the two. And the Sun Sword was like a lightsaber, but like a fire sword. It was like a bunch of cool things, and it was just a badass show. And I didn't know this. A lot of the show was written by Steve Gerber from comics. Yeah, Howard the Duck, Fool Killer creator. Yeah.
Now, Jared, let us not forget, because you wanted to do this one with me, let us not forget the beautiful green lightsaber from Mr. Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Very iconic, especially when we saw it last in The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 10 episode. It just brought joy to so many of our hearts.
Which was the giveaway, Rick. Right away, I was like, because we're like, who's the Jedi? Who's the Jedi? We see the X-Wing, so we're like, yeah. But then as soon as
green lightsaber.
Green lightsaber, and the hilt, you saw the hilt, and it's a very distinct hilt. And I was just like, oh, shit. You
know what time it was at that point.
Well, also, it was the lightsaber that, like, we first saw when he was, like, killing all Jabba's people. So it was just, like, the ultimate, like, nerd goosebumps when that thing shot out of R2-D2 and Luke grabs it and just all over his. I mean, no, he grabbed it with his hands.
Plus that beautiful all black, outfit he's wearing, especially when he had like the hood. He just reveals himself. He's just taking care of business. Of course, he did it again. That Mandalorian.
My pajamas. I wear that Luke Skywalker black outfit.
Oh, you don't say.
With the one glove of my robotic.
Yes, with the one glove. That's what I was upset about the sequel trilogy. We barely even saw that lightsaber. We saw it for like 2 seconds or something, 3 seconds. I'm like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Did we see it in it?
In The Last Jedi, you remember that scene where they did the flashback where he had a young Kylo Ren and like he was about to kill him and he busted it out real quick?
Yeah.
Yes, Frank, I do hope we get to see some more Beskar in the Book of Boba Fett.
I wear Beskar to bed with my Luke Skywalker outfit. It's part of my pajamas.
That makes a lot of sense.
I'm super protected all night. I'm just sitting there. Very uncomfortable, but...
In case your children try to kill you in your sleep, It happens. So, since we're talking about swords, gentlemen, I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Whoa. Oh, wait, you're serious. You're serious. Okay.
Oh, I'm serious.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wrong sword.
Okay.
I meant long swords.
Oh, yeah, this is a dagger.
I got one of those.
Oh shit! We can fight now, Chris. Kevin,
yes.
What kind of sword is that?
This is a classic Katana Blade. Matter of fact, I have 2 of them.
Oh man.
As
Chris,
you
is
see,
there
the
anything
Japanese-
engraved on your blade?
the Japanese handwriting on mine, or Japanese characters on mine.
On the blade?
Oh, I'm sorry. If you guys don't mind, I'll just
Oh,
Show off.
Yes. Yes. I'm old man Christopher Lee.
wait, you have to talk in his deep, very distinct voice.
I can't talk like that.
This is more like it. This is more realistic.
That dude got to do Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. How crazy is that?
Hey, you know what's funny? Sean Connery was offered, I think, the role of Ian McKellen, Gandalf, and he turned it down because he didn't understand the concept. He could have made so much money because they were offering him all kinds of gross.
He didn't understand the concept of a book that's been around for forever.
Yeah. Apparently he just didn't get
Cool.
it. I was like, oh, wow.
You talking about there's Schwartz in it?
Schwartz!
maybe that's what he thought.
Kind of Schwartz. Wait, there's all these Schwartz and I only have a shtick? Oh, no, I'm not doing it.
Frank says Tai Chi swords help me to attain inner peace.
Yeah, and murder.
And murder.
And murder.
Murder's the best part, yeah.
And murder. So, live on the air a little bit later tonight, Kevin is going to chop some vegetables mid-air. He's going to throw them up and chop them with his katana sword.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you already said you would. You're not going to do it now?
Promise.
I'll see.
Ah, Kevin. You got to chop that thing live on the air. If you don't do it, I'll have to find something up here in my room, and that's going to be dangerous.
I want to see some ninja action.
Like, I'm in my old room here. My parents are going to be yelling up the stairs. They're going to be like, what are you doing? I'm chopping shit, Mom.
Donald, quit playing with your sword up there.
And no, you'll say it that way too.
Woo!
You'll say it that way too.
Yeah.
Mom, I'm not playing with it. I'm just polishing it.
Yeah, I was just polishing it, guys. Gosh.
Polish the
Jeez.
blade.
So, anybody else had any other swords that they wanted to mention that they just want to give an honorable mention to before we get started here?
Did you have one yourself, Donald? An honorable mention that didn't make the list?
Jeez Louise. So many, man. So many.
Spaceballs. Then they have like something in there. Made the shorts being good to you.
Fish wars.
Nothing, Mom.
Oh, I got one that we
Okay.
not on our list that
All right.
that a bunch of people probably would think would be is the.
My mom just yelled up, hello.
Wow, that's a first. You can just do it from downstairs.
Yeah. Yep. Hi,
Lord-
Mom and Dad.
In Lord of the Rings, the sword of Andril, right? The one that they reforged. That
Yes.
belonged to.
Yes.
Yeah. To Strider or Aragorn.
That one did not make the list. Sorry. Not
Yeah.
sorry. Sorry. Not sorry. Am I sorry? I don't know if I'm sorry. I don't know if
You're
I feel
sorry.
like I'm sorry.
You're sorry.
Okay, we're sorry. Fine. We're sorry
But
that
you say-
Leandril or whatever the
There
hell.
were swords from other, various swords from the same kind of genre that we kind of had to take one or the other.
Yeah.
Or
Like
the same-
Conan's sword.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
there we go. The Conan sword.
the Atlantean sword or whatever it was, Attilian sword, however you pronounce it. That one was really cool. And, he wielded that like a mother. Yes,
That's a man
Maria,
sword
Maria,
right
it
there.
is injustice that we did not use that sword from Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry. It did not happen.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, thanks for joining, buddy. Good to see you on here.
I was watching.
I've dubbed you Sir Alex of Florida.
I was watching Vikings the other day, and I realized how beautiful the king of Norway, Ragnar, his sword was. And I don't think it would have been iconic enough to put on the list, but worth a mention on here. It's a very beautiful Viking style sword that the king of Norway, when they kind of create that role, has beautiful sword.
Beautiful sword.
I just realized one other nerd one from comics, the Valkyrie sword, Dragon Fang. That was a cool looking sword.
That
Which
makes
I
sense.
which I think they did a version of in the Thor Ragnarok.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
I bet they did, you nerd.
Bunch of nerds in this show.
Bunch of nerds.
Man in the background in our sword collections.
Yeah. Yeah, you got He-Man in the background. You're such a nerd.
So shall we get to it?
Alex says, Ragnar. I always name characters in any video games who I play as barbarians. Ragnar. Very
Fair.
cool.
Fair.
I'll drink to that. So let's get started. Yeah, let's get started. The Dragon Slayer should be on the list if it's not.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Wait. As in the one from the video game?
he says from Berserk.
Berserk. Oh.
Trevor says he has an actual 5-foot sword in his place. It's my security system.
Wow.
5 feet? I don't think this one's 5 feet. This is a pretty big sword, too.
Probably about 3 feet.
You know? Yeah, wow. How do you wield that thing?
With hilt-
How's that going to be your security system, though? Somebody's going to come in, unless they fall on it, you know? You'll have to position yourself on the floor and wait for them to, trip. How are you going to have time to get that up and, go at them? Unless you just charge them, I guess, like this. You know, like
Also,
they do
you
in...
can't really have that in a... well, I guess if it's on your back and you're,
Like,
over 5 feet.
Yeah,
Like that?
This is 3.5 feet or something.
cut the shit out of your neck, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Huh. Alex says the manga. Or manga. Whatever it is.
Manga comic. Yeah, manga comics.
I think it's actually manja. It's to eat.
Manja. Yes.
Yeah.
Manja. Okay, Frank, thanks for joining. Yeah, Trevor, that'd be cool if you could show us. Gee, we could try something. We could try having you email it and a picture of it, or just texting us a picture. If you want to text us a picture of it, we could do that, I guess. And then we could show it on the screen. That could be cool. All right, let's get started. Yeah, let's get started with this list. Let's get crazy, guys. So let me pull up a picture here. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, we
I
did.
don't think anybody ever would have picked number 12.
Yeah.
Predict on our list.
No one would have predicted number 12. I thought 12 was a hell of a lot of fun.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming.
We're talking about, if you can't tell what this is the grass sword. Now, what is a grass sword, you might ask? Hey, Gabe, thanks for joining. The grass sword was Finn's from Adventure Time. It was in an episode where he got it from the grassy wizard, who cursed the sword so it would bond itself to the owner for all of eternity. Now, Finn, for a bit, was upset and wanted to get rid of the sword because it was just stuck in his hand. But once he thought about how cool having a sword is all the time like that, and accepted the idea of the sword, the curse was still there, but the sword paired with him. And then the grass sword was super sharp, by the way, and strong. But once he accepted it, it would fold down onto his arm like a bracelet almost, or like a wrist guard. And then when he needed it, it would come back. And that was, I thought it was really cool.
Not only that, you showed us the little clip.
Yeah.
To sell us on the grass sword, and I was like, "Yep, right away," because the sword also adapts to your battle. It became almost like a helicopter spinning thing, block something. It can do whatever you want. Almost.
It did this really cool helicopter spin.
Ring of, yeah.
Highly adaptable sword. Probably the coolest sword. I would say, as far as just swords are concerned, this is probably the coolest sword. I would put this sword above a lightsaber. I think it's cool as shit. I love it. The thing about this grass sword is that the sword was lost when Finn lost his arm. And what happened was when he lost part of his arm, it left there was like a little flower embedded in it where part of his arm was and where the sword used to be. And eventually, his arm regenerates. So when his arm regenerates, it leaves in the palm of his hand a thorn. And when his life is threatened, like when somebody's right about to attack him with a killing blow, the grass sword will still come forward from his hand, but only in these life-threatening instances now. Like, since it's bonded with him and is literally a part of him. But since it was taken away, you know what I mean? It's like this really cool kind of a curse thing that really worked out well for Finn in Adventure Time. And by the way, if you guys haven't seen Adventure Time, it's a little weird, but it's great. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Trevor says he sent Kevin the picture. So Kevin, when you get the picture, if you want to put it up to the screen so we can all see it.
Okay.
Hey, Chris. Happy New Year, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you.
Dear Lord.
Jesus. That's a big-ass sword, dude.
Look at the way
Okay.
he's holding it, too. So confident.
Yeah, he's holding it like it's like a part of him, you know? It's like an extension of his...
appendage, yeah.
Yeah. That's very... We got to take that down. Yeah, Kevin, take that down.
That's for OnlyFans, dude.
Children watching this. So that was the grass sword. So number 12. I'm going to put that in there. And there we go. Number 12, the grass sword. So that's number 12. So let's talk about number 11, I guess. Let's get that started. Who has number 11? Do we know?
Which one is that?
Oh wait, I think that's me. Is that the special blazing sword?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It is.
Oh yes. Well, ever since I was a little kid and to this day, you can't go wrong with Voltron, Defender of the Universe. That beautiful sword, when he forms that blazing sword, it's a wrap. Anytime those road beasts were running loose and giving him trouble, once he got his hands on that sword, he pierced them or split them in half with it, it's a wrap. This is like the ultimate Goju. I'm sorry. What do you call the term in Japanese for what we were doing last year? It was a Gojo. I can't say it right. For the Japanese mind. Gaiju. I mean, he would basically fight Gaiju type monsters all the time, even though they call them Robies. But in reality, they were actually Gaiju monsters. They just had to sanitize them for the kids here in America. That sword's no joke, man. It's a beautiful sword too. It's a very unique looking sword. But once he gets it out, it's over, guys. I mean, there's nothing stopping Voltron.
It's the biggest sword in our list by far.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, by far, it's the biggest sword.
Walter,
think about it.
Walter, we were not talking about ranking our favorite S words. We were talking about swords. Straight through. Sorry, buddy.
You mean swords,
And-
not S words.
And thank you, Aiden. Yes, I'm very deeply saddened about my Steelers losing so significantly to the Chiefs, but I think we all knew it was going to happen deep down inside.
Hey, at least he didn't
Yeah,
look
Pat
bad
Mahomes.
as the Bills or the Eagles.
What's that, Chris?
So at least they didn't lose as bad as the Bills or the Eagles.
That's true.
True.
Didn't lose. Yeah. Well, the Bills won, but you know.
Sorry, not the Bills. The Patriots.
Yeah.
Who the Bills beat.
And they almost had another touchdown there at the end. It was super close. So I'll give them credit. They did all right. Defense was great.
Football's nerds. Let's talk about swords.
Right. We're talking about swords, though.
True.
Brian, thanks for joining. We have hot sauce in the house here. Alex, I'm with you. Go Bills. Anyway. Yeah. So this sword, it's big. It catches fire, apparently.
Catches fire. I don't know about that.
Why do they call it the flaming
What's
sword?
it called the blazing sword then?
Or the blazing sword.
Well, maybe because when he's forming it, it looks like a fire is being formed. So it's kind of like when you forge a sword in real life, there's some fire and heat involved. So maybe that's why they call it the blazing sword when he's forming it.
So in Voltron, though, each person was like a part of, like, you know, each tiger, lion, whatever was a part of
Each line.
Yeah. So who had the sword?
Well, if you see the you see the red line, that'd be Lance. So Lance red line's actually holding the sword.
I wonder if there's like sword envy because they're like, oh, well, you're aligned too, but you get you got the sword.
Form out of his hand or something?
Yeah, he puts the two lines together like the red.
Where was the sword though?
Oh, it's just forms out of the blue. You have to actually form.
Total bullshit.
Sword. Oh, come on.
Now, well, see, this is why this sword should have been number 12 on the list.
It's magic. It's a magic sword.
You don't know where it comes from.
It's a magic sword. He has to form it.
If you look at the new series of Voltron that was on Netflix, on that series, they all had to, like, when it was time for the Blazing Sword, they would all have to say, Blazing Sword, and they'd all have to do it at the same time in sync for the Blazing Sword to come out. So
yeah, I like that. I like that idea.
Janet, you forgot about the Blazing Sword? Oh, well.
Shame.
Most of us did, Janet. Most of us did.
Oh, come on. Man.
Voltron is rolling in his giant space grave right
now. Chris, if I bought a Blazing Sword and it didn't catch on fire, I'd be pretty pissed off too. No, Trevor, he did not blaze with the sword. But, you know.
Maybe probably could have if he wanted to.
He probably could have, yeah. He probably could have. So, this sword is significant because it kills monsters, right?
It kills monsters. Basically, it always delivers the coup de grace every time. Every time.
Okay. Fair enough. Next sword here. Number 10 on our list.
That would be me, I believe.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, and number 10.
Oh, Chris is going to have so much fun with this one.
Number 10 is... Do we have it here? Oh, yeah, you just named it different. Okay, got it. It's the Sword of Gryffindor, is that correct?
Yes, the Sword of Gryffindor.
Okay. It's a pretty sword.
Made it was a 1,000-year-old goblin magical sword. It was 1,000-year-old goblin made magical sword. So it was made 1,000 years ago by a goblin named can't remember the goblin's name, but it was made, it was owned by it was
Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin.
Green Goblin.
Sure.
No, it was Ragnuk the First. Was the name of the goblin. Basically, Ragnuk the First was hired to make this sword for Gryffindor, and then he made it, and then Gryffindor took it, and then Ragnuk said, "Oh, he stole the sword from me," and he sent a bunch of people to get it. Gryffindor defended himself with his wand, but didn't kill the attackers, and then bewitched them and said that if they tried again, that he would kill them, and then basically stayed in his possession from that point on. But it was always the goblins always assumed that the sword was theirs because
we lost 5 viewers in this description, Chris.
It's important because it comes on later on.
I just want to let you know.
So the big thing about Sword of Gryffindor is it appears out of the magic sorting hat, and it appears to whoever is worthy of wielding it. So in Chamber of Secrets, I think it is, Harry pulls it out of the sorting hat to kill Basilisk, and when he kills that Basilisk, it kind of, one of the powers it has is that it takes in the power of things it kills, so it pulls in the power of this venom from this Basilisk. And it's used later on to kill Horcruxes when they're trying to turn Voldemort back into a normal human being.
They're actually called sex worker cruxes now. We don't call them Horcruxes, but yes, go on.
But eventually, Harry, in order to get one of the Horcruxes, Harry has to give the sword back to a goblin. When they have to break into Bellatrix's
3 more viewers.
Vault. And so, but eventually, when it comes down to this final battle between the people at Hogwarts and Voldemort, another worthy champion pulls the sword out of the sorting hat by the name of crap. What's his name?
His name's crap. That's a weird name.
Neville Longbottom.
Yeah.
Sword out of the hat.
What a
He
last
kills
name.
the final Horcrux, which is Voldemort's pet snake. It makes it so Voldemort is human again and can be killed. So very super important to the story.
Okay.
Of Harry Potter.
Did you know that Neville Longbottom's mother's maiden name was Short Taint?
Short Taint Longbottom.
Sure.
All right, so we've got some comments here. Chris, I fell asleep during that. Dead45213 says Transformers Star Saber's a good one.
Ooh, that is a good one.
Andrew Y. Thanks for joining, buddy. He says Neville Longbottom is a G.
Yeah, he is a G. Yeah.
Trevor says it's all about balance. And Sherlock, which is Aiden, says, Chris, did you see the Harry Potter reunion on HBO Max?
Yes, I actually watched it today.
He described it to his students, who then promptly fell asleep.
No, I didn't have school today. It was it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Oh, well, lucky you didn't have school today.
Yes, it is. Neither did you.
Well, no, because I'm not in school.
You should be. You should.
You know, I'm at that age where I'm the meaning of life and everything, really. So, what are you gonna do? Okay, so that is the. I don't even remember what sword this was, but I'm just gonna get rid of it.
The Sword of Gryffindor.
Sword of Gryffindor.
Now the next sword that Jared
Call it the Sword of Griffin Snore.
Oh man, that's messed up. But the next sword that Jared's going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to get you going. This is a great sword.
Number 9 on our list, and definitely a modern sword. Well, about as modern as we get on this list, if I'm looking at it. Yeah, the Hattori Hanzo sword. That is, if you were familiar with, I don't know if you know this director. He's young, he's hot, he's new. Quentin Tarantino. He did these films called Kill Bill, Volume 1 and 2. And these group of assassins, all named after snakes, except the Uma Thurman character. Some of them have these amazingly crafted Hattori Hanzo swords, which are like the best katanas you can get. They can like...
She's Black Mamba, by the way.
Machine. What's that?
She's Black Mamba, you forgot. That was her nickname.
Black Mamba. Was she Black Mamba?
Yeah, don't you remember
No.
when was arguing like why you get to call Black Mamba? Like, I'm remember that.
But her real name was Beatrix Kiddo, which we
Kiddo.
That's yeah.
Yes.
So the character of Hattori Hanzo, which in doing my research, every now and then you kind of find some cool tidbits. There was a real Hattori Hanzo who was a ninja samurai in the 16th century who was he wasn't known for crafting swords, but he was known for his swordsmanship. Like, he was a badass sword ninja dude.
He dispatched a lot of people.
Yeah. So Hattori Hanzo in the Kill Bill films, though, he's a master sword maker who has given up making swords because he doesn't want them to be used for killing anymore. He doesn't want to. They're these death machines, and he makes them. His are works of art. He breaks that rule when Uma Thurman's character comes to him and she basically says, "I need Japanese steel and I need it to kill Bill." That's the title of the films, because Bill was a student of Hattori Hanzo, and Hattori Hanzo felt guilty, which is one of the reasons he stopped making swords, because he made a sword for him, and Bill became a master assassin.
Wasn't he making sushi?
He becomes a sushi chef. So she finds him, and he's just working at a sushi restaurant.
It's probably amazing. Hanzo. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the badass things that he said is he presents it to her after he has to he takes like a month to make it. Like, it's not just he doesn't 3D print it and then do a cool paint app on it. He actually has to forge this thing and make it himself. And this is the last sword he's going to make. And he says to her, he presents it to her saying that if even God gets in her way, God will be cut. So I don't know much more of a badass like intro to a sword than you get with that. And the sword itself, if you watch the films, it like just anything she puts it to just cuts through it and kills everybody. Spoilers, she ironically doesn't kill Bill with the sword. She does the 5-finger death punch thing.
Yeah.
Stops his heart. But
Pai Mei taught her that technique.
That's right. Badass, in my opinion, badass films. Got to watch them together because it's like it's a whole thing.
The original firework cuts out there.
Yeah, but I remember they also how revered the swords were. Like when Michael Madsen's character he just sells his Hattori Hanzo sword and his brother Bill is like, you sold your sword? Like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, that's like you sold the Mona Lisa to buy some like booze? Like, you piece of shit. Like,
it was stupid. I would never sell that sword. That's a beautiful sword. You never sell a thing like that. Never.
Yeah. Cool history, badass katana, and like and it's wielded beautifully. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, great fight sequences. Some of the best stunt work in ages. I mean, it was so beautifully done. Aiden says,
coordinator from the Matrix.
Aiden says one of my favorite characters of all time is Go-Go. What a badass bitch.
Awesome. Go-Go's awesome.
And then Janet says Pai Mei is hilarious.
Yes, he is.
There's so many great characters.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Quick little poll on you guys and anybody in the chats that wants to chime in. If you had to choose between the first film or the second film, instead of counting it as one film, which is your preference? Which one did you like more?
Volume 1 for me, for sure.
Volume 2.
Yeah, I'd probably go 2, but it's like impossible because 1 is like
it's more the action.
Yeah.
And 2 is like the story.
The drama. Yeah, the drama.
I like 2 as well. Yeah. I would go with 2.
They got all the stuff about the sword and stuff in the second one, and I really like that.
Yeah,
I just like I love Michael Madsen. But him being like this master assassin who's just like a low life and working at a strip bar was awesome. Like,
Aiden says Volume 1 or Volume 2 for him. Ray says Volume 2 for him. Frank says Volume 1, and Andrew says really great example of a Western movie that shows how revered with honor a master-crafted katana is.
Yeah. Anything is also taken from the Kurosawa movies that were known for, the samurai flicks.
Maria, I can agree there. Maria says 2 is a better movie, but 1 is a lot of fun. And it
100%. That's why I'm saying like it's impossible for me to separate them because when I saw 1, I was like, oh, that was fun. And then I saw 2 and I was like, oh, well, 1 made way more sense to me of like how that was one part, it was another part.
Yep.
It'd be a weird comparison for me. Alien and Aliens. They're both great, but they're different. There's just different types of stories. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
But no swords.
Guys in the chats, if you want to feel free to give us a like or a thumbs up, that would be super appreciated. We always enjoy those. It makes my little cold heart just thaw just slightly when I see that. So thank you for that. Also, I want to do something here really quickly. I want to talk about Half's Hot Sauce, a sponsor of ours. Half's Hot Sauce makes some of the best hot sauces in all of at least the United States, if not the world. I haven't tried all the world's hot sauces, but his are pretty damn good. In fact, I'm sitting at the kitchen table today with my mother. We're having breakfast or lunch or whatever you want to call it. And she says, hey, I'm almost out of that pickle hot sauce. Do you think I can get some more? Yeah, of course. So, Brian, if you're still on the chat here, we are going to be having to hit you up for some more, at least for some more pickle hot sauce. I also talked her into the watermelon rhubarb, which is the main squeeze, is what it's called, hot sauce, and the Sugar Rush peach, which is a very nice peach hot sauce as well. Those are 3 of my favorite hot sauces also. So I highly recommend that you guys try those out. How can you try those out? Well, in the chat, I'm going to put the website and a coupon to save you 10%. So if you go to www.halfshotsauce.com, and then once you make your purchase or select the items you want in your cart for a 10% off coupon code, all you have to do is type in Donald Hiccups, and you'll save 10% off on your order. So he ships all across the United States. So if you guys want some wonderful hot sauce, he makes some of the best hot sauces around. I can't recommend it enough. It's just really, really, really good, guys. And Chris, I think he's still working on that basic hot sauce that you were asking about. But it should be available sometime in the near future, I would imagine.
Yeah, I just finished my first bottle of the dill hot sauce too. So I'm like, I was just thinking about it. I was like, I need to get more hot sauce. Need hot sauce.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's like a Cookie Monster the way you said that.
Guys, we hand select these sponsors. We just don't willy-nilly accept anybody. We hand select them because we believe in the product that they have.
And they've got a badass mascot.
Yeah, absolutely. The skull's really cool. Splattered Frog, yes. Kevin's showing the hat. That's our other sponsor. We'll be talking about those that company here shortly. Going to bring that back up here in a few more once we get through with the Kill Bill. So it sounds like we're done. We're wrapped up with Kill Bill, and we're going to be moving on to number 8.
Yeah, he's dead. He can kill.
Okay. So number 8 on the list.
This is a very interesting sword.
I just find it's inconceivable that it wasn't. I mean, it had to be on the list, or else it would have been inconceivable to not put it on the list.
Yeah. We're going back about, 35 years when this movie came out?
Jesus, we're old, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, we are old.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. We are talking about Inigo Montoya's Six-Fingered Man Sword. That is number 8 on our list. If you can see how it's crafted, it looks almost like kind of like snakes, I believe, on the ends. It was designed originally for a man that had 6 fingers. He wanted Inigo's father to make this sword, and his father was the best steelsman, the best sword maker in all the land. His father being Domingo Montoya. So he had his father make this sword for him, and we're talking about Count Rugen, who is the 6-fingered man. He's a really evil man. So after Domingo made the sword for him, he tested the sword, he thought it was perfect, and then he ran him through, right in the heart, and killed him, so he didn't have to pay him. That's how big of a piece of shit the 6-fingered Count Rugen is. So, his sword, though, as a lesson, Inigo stood up to him and came and went and found him and stood up to the Count, was like, I'm going to fight you, I'm going to beat you. And the Count didn't kill him, but he whooped his ass, and then at the end he left him a slash here and a slash here on his face, and he has 2 scars on his face. So all his life he's been hunting this 6-fingered man, is what he calls him, 6-fingered man, 6-fingered man. And he has his father's sword. He has that sword that he made for him, and he's going to kill him with it. It's a beautiful sword. It's this sword that you see on the screen right now.
But what is he going to say when he sees him?
He's going to say, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. And then he's going to slash at him. And then he's going to get very vocal. Very vocal, very quickly. If you haven't seen this movie, Mandy Patinkin alone is worth the price of admission to see The Princess Bride. 100%. Princess Bride is one of the greatest fantasy films of all time. I firmly believe it should be in the top 10 of most people's lists that enjoy fantasy films. If it's not, you're missing out.
Oh, stop it. I mean it.
Andre the Giant, you can't go wrong there with his character.
Thank you, Bonnie says it's a classic. It is a wonderful, wonderful film. It is a wonderful, look how beautiful that sword is. A wonderfully beautiful sword that is used to enact revenge upon a man that killed another man's father. It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful sword. And that's why it's on the list. And it's pretty good number, I feel. We numbered it well. We placed it well out of 12, putting it at 8, simply because of the story and because of the craftsmanship of the sword itself. So, number 8, Inigo's 6-fingered man sword.
You're here.
And that's going to lead us into number 7. Yes, Ricky, it is a good movie, and thank you for joining, Ricky. And thanks for joining, Bonnie.
All right, Donald, I think this is your turn. This is your sword.
My turn again. Oh my goodness. Yeah, absolutely.
I've got some stuff on it too.
Absolutely.
As you can see in my background, it is the Ebony Blade.
Yeah.
This blade is so badass. As you know, if you've watched me and on this show, I love counterparts. I love Bizarro to Superman. I love Black Adam to Captain Marvel. I love their evil counterparts.
Sinestro to Green Lantern.
Sinestro to Green Lantern. Reverse Flash to Flash. This is if you're having the black version of Excalibur, that's what this is. The Ebony Blade was also created by Merlin for Sir Percy of his knights of the Round Table. It was carved from a starstone meteorite. It was enchanted to cut through any object. So it's like up there with adamantium as far as metals, and it's magic. It'll prevent the death of its wielder and deflect any magic, but because it's the dark version, it carries a curse. It's a cursed blade, which I love, much like our grass sword. It is a cursed blade, except this one's very dark, as you can see. It was wielded eventually by the Black Knight, the first one, and then it passed on to, because we are a comic podcast, Dane Whitman, the Black Knight, who we just saw a version of, I guess, in Eternals. Not what we wanted to fully see yet, but no. It's out there. And they're touting the Ebony Blade as the next big weapon in the MCU because it's like the magical version of a very serious, we were dealing with Infinity Gauntlets and stuff like that. This is another very Marvel Universe is a serious weapon.
Right.
What happens is it preys on the bloodthirstiness and the darker inklings of its wielder.
It draws out their negative emotions until they become bloodthirsty berserkers. Yeah.
Yeah. So the more you wield it for what you're thinking is good deeds, but you're protecting yourself. But the more you kill with it, the darker it's going to feed on your soul. I mean, look at that Black Knight right there.
Right. Here's the best part too.
So what would happen if the Moon Knight wielded the Ebony Blade?
I don't know. Well, a lot of people have wielded it.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about it.
That's exactly what I was getting to. The best part about it is it can only be wielded by the impure of heart.
Right.
You can't be pure of heart and wield this. So, like Captain Britain, for example, if he tried to pick up the sword, nope, can't wield it. And also the fact that it can cut through anything, that means it can cut through, theoretically, adamantium.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, we all want to get on the jock of the Dark Saber, which would be an honorable mention for me as well. This is the original Dark Saber right here. It's like, this is it.
That's true. That's true.
So you're saying it only can pray the impure of heart. I don't think Eternals did a good job of that then with that character because he just seemed like a really nice, good guy. Dane did in like
Jon Snow.
Seeing it like an impure, he doesn't seem like an impure heart at all. So
I think it like I see what you're saying. I think it was like in those cases it would like kind of turn them. Like in the comics, I know Dane Whitman, he never killed with the sword, but then there was this big epic crossover called Operation Galactic Storm, and Black Knight, there was two groups of Avengers were like, we have to kill the Kree Supreme Intelligence because he's just obliterated like half of the Kree world. So they're like, one group, and Black Knight was part of that, was like, we have to kill him. And the other group was like, no, you can't kill him. He's still a living something. And they're like, well, fuck that. So Black Knight actually is the one who gives the coup de grace. He stabs the brain of the Kree Supreme Intelligence with his sword, the Ebony Blade. And from that point on, he's like cursed. Like it cursed him. Like the curse becomes reality with him. And I think that was what it also does, is it kind of it takes any impurity and just amplifies it.
Right.
And then,
it wants you. It's like the ring in Lord of the Rings. It wants you to commit violence. It wants you to put it on. It wants you to be drawn towards Mordor. So so the one ring holder can be the true ring holder again. Can get his ring. This sword is an ultimate corrupter. It is power, but it is absolute power that will corrupt absolutely. It's the most amazing sword, I think, as far as the story is concerned about the sword itself. There's only one other, and that's higher on the list, and you'll see the connection later. But it is the Ebony Blade is something that I've always been drawn to in the comic books. I thought it was amazing. I thought the Black Knight was amazing. We all kind of, as we're younger and as we're superhero fans and stuff, you're kind of drawn to like people like Superman or Batman or Spider-Man. You know, they have these really cool costumes and stuff. But when you see somebody in a knight's outfit, you think you stop and you think a little bit, and you go, "Oh, why are they putting in somebody from the history books? That's just silly, you know. That's like having somebody, you know, that's a Viking being in there or something. You know what I mean? It just a lot of times there's a disconnect when you're younger and you don't think anything about those types of characters. But as you get older, or if you're a particular type of kid that's really into that kind of thing, you enjoy it for what it is, and you know that you study it, and you know all about that character and the sword and everything that it can do, and how strong of a person. This ain't no Boromir we're dealing with here, you know. He didn't grab the ring and instantly, you know, he grabbed the sword. He's been carrying this sword for forever. He's been carrying this burden for forever and using it for the power of good. Yeah. And that says something about the merit of the man, whether he has if he's impure of heart or not. That just says something about Dane Whitman in general.
So the costume, does the knight costume come with the sword, or is it just something he made?
I think his history, he's related to like the very first Black Knight.
Yeah. So it's kind of handed down type thing.
Family suit of arms.
Yeah.
He doesn't put the sword in his hand and the armor comes on him.
He's not a Power Ranger. Okay, that's good.
Right. That's not the way it's worked in the past. Will they retcon that and change that in the future, or have they done that in the past at some point? I can't say with 100% certainty, because there's been a lot of different stories with the Black Knight throughout the years, and we all know the 90s was just a lot. So it's possible.
It's when they gave him the laser sword.
Yeah.
They gave him a lightsaber for a little bit.
They do. Yeah, you're right.
Lightsaber.
Dead45213 says, only good part of the Externals movie, LOL. Aiden says, Sword of Omens versus Master Sword versus the Ebony Blade. What wins in a fight?
Well, keep listening.
Okay, so that is, I think, number 7 that we had. Number 6. Number 6 is a great one, and I think, Chris, you're gonna piggyback with me on this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Number 6, Maria. Sorry about your elven made sword or whatever. I can't remember the name of it because I never remember. Alex, I agree. Boromir was just trying to save his kingdom. Actually, Boromir is my favorite character in the Lord of the Rings. So I know I did a comparison, but I love Boromir. I think he's a fantastic character, fantastically done character.
Yeah, is that Ned Stark?
Yep, Ned Stark did him. Yep.
006.
Yeah. And he's also in what is that? It's the shoot, Chris, help me out. It's the train show.
Snowpiercer?
Thank you, Snowpiercer. Yeah.
Premieres next week.
Nice, dude. That's Alex's favorite character too, is Boromir. Awesome. See, Maria, I told you other people love Boromir because he's awesome. This is Chris on the screen right now. We have the sword that glows when in the presence of orcs and goblins.
Yep.
Let me start this off by saying, is one of three dwarven made swords. I think it's the least pretty of all of them, but the coolest of all three of them. The prettiest being the Orchest, but this one has, in my opinion, the most usability for the story, and because it is the only one that glows and the only one that has that warning sign for them.
Right. And some might not say it's the most important, because the most important is the blade that was reforged in order to get all the ghost spirits of the dead pirates and stuff to join in the fight, because without those, they wouldn't have won the battle. That I understand. But you have to think of the other side of it. You have to think of those two little hobbits traveling into Mordor and how they're defending themselves. how they're fighting off Gollum, how they're fighting off the big giant spider, whatever the spider's name, I can never remember.
Sting.
No.
Oh wait.
How they're just fighting all these orcs and everything else that comes their way. That is through Sting, through the sword Sting that was handed down to him from his uncle Bilbo, who used it in The Hobbit to fight goblins and orcs and all kinds of other things as well.
That's where it gets its name, is in The Hobbit. Yeah.
Yeah, because it stings us.
Gandalf found it and then gave it to Bilbo. Isn't that what happened?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
But he calls it Sting because he kills a spider named Sting, right? Wasn't that the whole thing? Like,
no, I don't think so.
No,
I don't. I could be wrong, but I thought that maybe it was. Maybe he got this. Maybe it was because he was killing the spider, and the spider said it stung, and he's like, Sting. That's a good name for it. It's got a sting to it. I thought it was with Gollum, but it might have been with the spiders. Jarrett, you might be correct. Maria, I know for sure would know, so she can correct us on that. Yes, Sting was in The Hobbit as well, Alex. And Maria's already mad. She says Sting makes the list, but Andriel Narsil does not. Yes, it does not. And yes, awesome choice, Alex says. Thanks, Alex.
I think you're right about it being from the spider because on the sword, on the blade, he gets the word. He gets the saying. It's translated version. Sting is my name. I am the spider's bane. Engraved onto the sword. So
okay, got it. All right, I always get confused. Whenever you watch them, we just did like a marathon of them, and I watched like all of the Hobbits and the Lord of the Rings. It all kind of just blends into each other, and as you fade into a coma about halfway through. So there's a lot there. We've got a lot of comments, so let's go through these. Maria says, okay, but Narsil's what killed Sauron in the first place. Generations before the hobbits were even born, they wouldn't even exist. I'm sure, Maria, I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm sure if he didn't have that sword, he would have used another sword in his hand to do the same damn thing.
Oof. Man, that's brutal.
Just think it's true. I just think it's true. Dead45213, we're just going to call you Dead from now on, says, Orchest, Glamring, the real MVPs, but Sting gets the clout because Hobbit-sized. Yeah,
I agree with that. Orchest is awesome.
Yeah, it is a beautiful sword, and Chris, you're right. When I pull up pictures of it and stuff to just look at its intricacy, it's very lovely. It's very nice, and it was a very important sword too. Janet says they needed your expertise here, Maria. yeah, Janet. Dead says Narsil, cool, but Andrul just had a way better ring to it. Shelob is a spider. Hakeem, thanks for joining, buddy. Says howdy.
Yeah, he kills the spider protecting the
Yeah. Dead has confirmed it. He said no, the spider said that it stings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ray, the Afro Samurai sword.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
Name?
Didn't make the list, but it's good. It's a solid sword. Maria says, using Donald's argument, the hobbits could have killed orcs and fought Shelob with any swords, short swords also. Not necessarily, because those glue. They glowed. There was the glow to them. So yeah. That's different, Maria. How are you going to come at me now with that?
See, and I always like the stories where they get like, at one point they're like, here, these are these magic things that are going to help you on your journey. Like, here's the sword, here's the chainmail that's going to protect, like those kind of things. And that was one of those swords, it's like this. So not only is it a sword, but it will warn you when danger is coming.
I mean, he had Sting, he had Mithril, to protect him. Those are the important things that he was handed, that he was gifted as part of his rite of passage.
I don't know any iconic pop rock singers that are named Arendelle or so
or wrestlers for that matter.
Oh. You can cut the fields of gold with Sting, So
that's true. It's true.
Well put, sir. Well put. Okay, so moving on from Sting, we've got that was number 6 on our list. Hey, Sean, thanks for joining. The bride's Hattori Hanzo blade better be on here. Well, it already was, buddy. You missed it.
It was there.
Next, we got the probably the most famous video game sword in the history of video games.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay, and bringing it up right now. Go ahead.
All right, we got next number 5. We got the Master Sword from Legend of Zelda. All of them, all of the games. Brief history: it was created by a goddess in the form of Zelda, and then it was a little guardian entity, like fairy thing, was put into the sword named Fi, which kind of creates the power. It's made to kill evil. It has multiple things. You can open realms with it, doors with it. You can also like shoot metal magic at it. It's in all the games. The origin of it is in a game called Skyward Sword. That's how you see it get made. And it's very integral to beating the bad guy named Ganon in all the Legend of Zelda games. Like some of the other swords, you've got to be worthy to wield it, and it's always a blonde boy named Link. Actually, I think some of them you get to change the name, you get to create the name, but it's always Link. It's Link. You always have to fight this pig guy named Ganon with it, and that's the key to beating him is the Master Sword, because it's the destroyer of evil. I think, in fact, in the newest game, Skyward Sword, it's not even called the Master Sword. They call it everything except the Lord of Legend, the evil destroyer. I can't remember, but yeah, they don't call it the Master Sword at all. They call it everything else. They're like 7 or 8 different names. Legend, I think the Sword of Legend, the legendary sword, is what they go by a lot. So mostly it's in other video games like Soul Calibur had it. You could get it. You can get a version of it in Skyrim. Lots of different. You see the Master Sword. You see the Hyrulean Triforce on it. You instantly recognizable. Definitely the most popular video game sword that's ever created.
And the wielder of the sword is not Zelda.
No, it's Link. I said that.
Right, Link. Right. Because I think like a lot of people get confused who Link is, because it's always like the Legend of Zelda. You know what I mean?
Partly the sword was created by a goddess in the form of Zelda.
There we go. Yeah.
It's like Metroid. You don't play as Metroid, which everybody thought was that character is Metroid. Yeah. Yeah, Samus you play as. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so that was number 5, the Master Sword. And we have a very similar sword. Sometimes people get confused with the name. Even I have myself in the past. And I'm going to bring up a picture here in a moment and let Jarrett and Kevin fight it out, I guess, on who's going to take this one.
It's you, Jarrett. You start out, brother.
But for a moment, I want to point something out real quickly, guys. I have the power!
That's not the real one. That's not the real one.
It's the real one.
That's fake.
It's the real one, bitches.
That's a fake plastic version.
Whatever. You're just jealous you don't have one. Look how cool I look like this. It's on my shoulder. It looks so cool.
Shira has the better one. Shira has the better sword, that some people would argue.
Really?
It's a sword of protection, right, or something?
Do you dress up as Shira often, Kevin, and wield your sword?
No.
Shira.
No. Battle Cat, actually.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about the power sword. Now, for me, and, we went back and forth on this list. This is my number 1 sword because of just what it represents as a sword. It makes you into He-Man. You're freaking He-Man when you wield it, when you say, by the power of Grayskull, and then for some reason you have to touch the blade and put your hand in danger and say, I have the power! And you turn into He-Man. The sword originally was just created because it was like, oh, we have this barbarian guy, let's give him a cool sword. Then later, they started when they're like, oh, we have to create a history for this. So they made it that there's been a lot of retcons of it, but it was originally like there was 2 swords, right? It was Skeletor had one and He-Man had the other. And if you actually got them together, they'd be like the ultimate sword. And if you had the toy set, the swords were, although you could use like anything, it was actually bullshit, but it was what opened up the drawbridge in Castle Grayskull. But the sword is enchanted. It obviously makes He-Man turn into He-Man. He can turn Cringer into Battle Cat. It's got magical capabilities. It's like indestructible. In the current Netflix show, they said it was actually just a conduit that helps him harness the power. Because he uses it. He calls the power down, and he becomes like an insane like Conan Hulk amalgam.
Basically, like a Hulk, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually pretty well done, and he just goes and rips up trees. He just like throws trees. He's just pissed off and angry. And, like,
I was watching that on the flight back from LA to Ohio. I was watching it like on the plane, going, "This is so cool!" And he's like tearing shit up and stuff.
Yeah, do a great job.
Yeah.
But and go on, Kevin.
Yeah, and to give respect to She-Ra, because again, technically it's about both swords. So gotta give props
I
to
put the Power
protection.
Sword as number 4, but it's also She-Ra's sword as well, which is the Sword of Protection.
The Honor of Grayskull. The Honor of Grayskull when she pops it out.
Hers is the Sword of Protection, I think, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah. But both swords were created at the same time. Remember that special episode, Secret of the Sword, where you saw the origins of both swords, and of course, eventually Adora would get her hands on it, and then become She-Ra to fight her former father, in a sense, in that world, a Hordak, and join the forces of good.
Mentor too, right?
Yeah, he was Skeletor's mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, what he did was he kidnapped Adora as a baby from King Randor and, escaped to Etheria. And so Adam was never told about his twin sister, I guess, to protect him from the pain.
Sounds like some New Gods type shit to me.
Yeah, kind of. And the sorceress, of course, told the truth, about, the children's origins. And then, of course, you have a cool reunion episode.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I was a He-Man kid growing up, so, like, that sword was just iconic to me. The design of it, everything about it. It's a badass sword, and it looks great when it's inflated into a balloon.
Absolutely.
Yes. Hey, you know what? My dad spent quite a bit of time blowing the sword up for me, so thanks, Dad. Because I was running out of time. After he blew it up, he cut his chair in half. Like that.
Did He-Man ever actually like fight? Aside from the Netflix show, I think it gets used, but in the original He-Man show, did he ever like hit a person with the sword, or like stab a person, or
maybe like a monster, but not like actually?
I don't think he would like turn into He-Man and then just punch stuff. He's like, forget the sword, I'm super strong.
Right.
Forget
the weapon. Crazy.
Well, I think it was that thing back then where you didn't kill humans. That's why Ninja Turtles fought Foot Clan that were robots. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those that haven't seen the new He-Man cartoon, watch it. Don't get offended when things don't go your way at first. Stick with it.
Yeah.
It's really good. If nothing else, if nothing else, just Moss Man's ascension into godliness. The greatness that is Moss Man now. I thought Moss Man was dumb as shit when I was a kid. Now I think he is the coolest thing ever. So
Roboto, they made Roboto awesome.
Oh my god, yes. Also an amazing character. Yeah.
What about Eva Lynn?
Eva Lynn, they went apeshit with. They actually like had like a lot. She actually has the most layers in the whole.
Mark Hamill, I thought was a great Skeletor.
Yeah.
Great Skeletor.
And Beastman back.
Alex says
Beastman actually has got a cool story arc too.
Yeah, he is. Alex says it's the censor's fault, just how Wolverine was never allowed to use his claws on anything but robots in the Fox show.
That's true. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Or to like cut a picture of Cyclops out of a
right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we've we've got number 4 on our list. Let me really quickly. We'll look for number 3 here.
That's you and me, Jared, on this one, I believe, as well.
Oh, yeah. Let me get myself ready here.
Okay, getting yourself ready. Get yourself pumped up. Pumped up for this one.
It's up on the screen, gentlemen.
Darth Vader. His beautiful red crimson lightsaber that cut down and mow down many people, many Jedi, many rebels, many limbs. If you saw that scene from Rogue One, it was incredible towards the end of the movie.
I don't care about the lightsaber so much. I just want to be able to force control my remote to come into my hand, because I don't half the time know where I put it, or I'll put it down across the room when I just sit down with like a plate of something delicious, and I don't want to get back up. You know, you guys feel me, right?
I want to kill little Jedi kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually a replica of the one that was from Rogue One, with the little. And if you just give me your moment, one second. Ah! Yeah, we're good.
Right, from Empire Strikes Back when he took Luke's hand.
Yeah, to me, I mean, as a weapon, forget sword, just as a weapon, a lightsaber is such a cool freaking weapon. We all lost our shit when we saw Obi-Wan give it to Luke, and he took that, the Anakin one, which was a toss-up. It was either Vader or the Anakin, Luke, Rey saber for its whole legacy. But we kind of went with Vader's because it's just way more iconic, I think. It's just... it represents evil and sinister, and nothing good's going to come of like going against that thing.
That's right.
Yeah, I think we wanted to put this above like Luke's, even though Luke, his and Ben's, their lightsabers like the first one we really see, but it didn't feel like they're both within the same movie, and as much as we love Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, when we see it in red, it's like, oh shit, like it's go time. Like this guy's evil.
It's getting real.
It's getting
real.
I mean, this right here killed Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness.
That's true.
He's dead. It's killed him. And every night I sleep with it.
Really?
Yeah. I love you. Ewan McGregor killer.
Yeah, Alex, we mentioned the green lightsaber from Luke earlier, but yeah, I love that one too. I love Luke's second, his real lightsaber is the green one.
Alex says, I like the Return of the Jedi green lightsaber Luke used, just because it visually symbolized Luke changing into a Jedi Knight, or about to.
Exactly.
Yeah. We gave it some big props for our honorable mentions.
Right. We really did. And guys, I know it just looks like we come up with these lists or whatever, but let me just show you really quickly the arguments that we have, the battles back and forth between us.
The messages.
It goes
many pages.
On and on and on and on and on and on. You know,
Jared even threatened Chris's life during the text messages. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
It was more me. I was going through some stuff. It was just
right.
It's okay. I never thought it was an actual threat.
Okay, good.
John, man, I lost that fight. I totally get it. Sean said that the Gryffindor sword is the worst sword in pop culture.
Ooh.
I don't think it's great either, man. I don't. But
that's brutal.
Other people really like Harry Potter. Other people think it's integral to the storyline of Harry Potter and what happens.
To represent
right.
vast, it's not my favorite by far. But I wanted to represent a vast of the power of swords, and that sword had some very key moments in a very popular franchise.
Yeah, right. If I was going to pick a sword from a book, I would pick the Sword of Truth. But Harry Potter fans, people out of that type of thing, it is the most important sword.
Okay, right. J.K. Rowling gave us each $500 to mention it. I'm just going to say we each got
Dead says.
$500.
Dead says also kind of similar in construction to his original blue lightsaber, so it's a nice little bit of continuity. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Enrique.
in the Vader comics, they go over him making that version of the Vader lightsaber too.
The comic books are really good. Like a lot of them have been really good. Specifically Vader, Darth Vader's comic has been excellent. Enrique says, sorry he's late, was catching up on sleep. One word, Vegas. And then I responded, Enrique, did you win? That's what I would like to know.
And did you buy a sword with your winnings?
And he says yes, in a way, yes. So it sounds like Enrique got laid. Congratulations!
Did you bet on black, sir, when you were there? Or red?
If he bet on black, does that mean he slept with somebody that was black lady?
None of our business.
Now, okay, you're right. You're right. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Enrique, you don't have to enter into any of that. But we get you. We get you. Vegas,
okay. Baby, Vegas.
All right. Anything else we want to say about Vader? About Anakin? Spoilers.
Wait. That's the same guy?
Wait, what? What, Donald?
I'm so sorry, guys. I thought you knew.
Not that sweet little boy from episode 1.
Did we see the red saber in the prequels?
We see Darth Maul.
We see Darth Maul.
So do we think we'll see it being built in the Obi-Wan series? Maybe?
Possibly.
Obi-Wan series? That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I'm trying to think of when he makes it in the comics. It's we might be able to. Yeah, we might.
Alex says he was reading the Thrawn trilogy Star Wars graphic novel today. So good.
Oh, cool.
Good stuff.
Are we gonna see him in Ahsoka? Are we gonna? I think we're gonna see him in Ahsoka.
We're gonna see him in something, man.
I think they teased that.
That book is so expensive already. Honestly, like in really good condition, forget it. You're gonna pay $700 to $1,000 or something like that.
I think Jared has like 3 copies.
That reminds me, actually, Mom, if you're watching, we should go through your Star Wars collection of your comics while I'm here. My mom has a vast Star Wars comic book collection that she would buy and I would buy for her throughout the years, dating clear back for like 20-some years now. So there might be some real gems in there, like some big books, to be honest. So we should take a look. That would be cool. Maybe we'll do a video. We'll do like an Instagram video or something where I am going through my mother's collection of comics.
Let me take a look privately, and then I'll let you know what you have. I'll be on.
Yeah, you and every other comic shop. Enrique says, no, LOL, just had a great time with friends. Well, that's good, Enrique. I'm glad you had a great time with friends. Anyway, number 3, Vader. Number 2, this is a cool one.
Yes, it is.
I think somebody here has been so chomping at the bit to talk about this one because this is their favorite of all time. Their number 1 sword, and I understand. So number 2 on the list. Kevin, take it.
It is the Thundercats Linos Sword of Omens, which stems from the power from the Eye of Thundera. Have you ever seen a sword like this that starts as a dagger and then eventually grows into a longsword? It has like this creepy eye that's looking at you, and it turns into a lion symbol. And every time he has to recharge or reinvigorate his fellow Thundercats, he just pulls it out. Thunder.
He pulls out the sword.
Thundercats. Yes, with the sword.
Okay.
Come on now.
There's no cat there. He's got to be.
Cats. He's a cat people. He's a cat people. Come on. When he says thunder, Thundercats ho. Oh yeah, that's true. But still, when he yells that phrase, oh my goodness, their eyes light up.
6 bitches come running.
Oh man, it's such a powerful thing that you see.
Right.
And this sword's no joke. It actually will put Mum-Ra in check. If he saw like his visage, he saw his reflection, he would like freak out and run away.
It's got a pretty badass name too.
Yeah,
Sword of
Omens. And then the music in the background.
I was telling Alex that I had one of these Sword of Omens as a kid, but it was so cheaply made that it broke. And so I had a partial Sword of Omens, and it just looked like shit. But I still loved it, and I would walk around with it, and I'd be like, I've broken my sword, but I still have my strength. And then I would fight people.
It started off small, right? It sounds so bad.
It starts with the dagger.
Oh, and then it gets bigger. Right?
Then it grew.
Yeah, it extends and it erects into
Whoa!
a big... Absolutely.
Yeah, it was thunder, and it's grown. Right?
Oh, yeah, man.
So many Thunder penis is what it should have been called, which is...
Oh, come on now. It's a beautiful sword. It's iconic. It can do just about anything. But I must say one thing, guys. As you know, there was one sword that did damage this sword. One sword, the only sword to damage and nearly destroy the Sword of Omens, but not completely. And I think we know what that sword is. Am I right, Donald and Chris?
Donald just had a sword attack.
Donald's a little busy waxing.
You all right? You all right, Donald? You all right, buddy?
Oh, I'm fine. Sorry, I was busy.
Are you talking about number 1 on the list?
Yes, number 1. That number 1 sword is the one sword in one episode of Thundercats that actually destroyed and tore the Sword of Omens in half.
Wait, they actually brought number 1 into the Thundercats universe?
Well, there's some logic because there's some truth to this. Because
that's
this
why number 1 is
was
number
in
1.
An episode of Thundercats.
See, Jared, this is why this sword is number 1.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, what? Yeah, I don't argue it. It's fine. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Alex, no, I did not get it for Christmas that I remember. I think I just got it, I got a lot of, okay, so stuff was on sale or, discounted or something. I got a lot of that stuff because I could get more things. I'm still that way now to this day. If something's on sale, I'm buying more of it, So, yeah, it was basically, it wasn't on sale. I mean, it was on sale, but I don't think I got it for Christmas or anything. I don't think. My mom can correct me on this, but she's not in the chats tonight. She's watching, so's my dad, but they're not in the chats right now. They can't get it to work for some reason. Ray says the Voltron sword is also pretty powerful. Powerful enough to make 11 on our list. Number 11, Ray. So go back, rewatch us. You'll see that part where we talk about it, and it's cool. Sword of Omens. Anything else anybody wants to say?
That's it. I mean, it's leading into number 1. As I mentioned, it was in an episode of Thundercats that actually tore the Sword of Omens in half, if you recall, Donald, back in the day.
Okay.
This number one sword is...
Picture coming up. And go ahead.
Crocodile Dundee's knife.
No.
It's a knife.
Yeah, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Excalibur.
Literally, it is the sword.
Of swords.
Yep. It is the sword.
Excalibur is what comes to mind.
Two different origins of Excalibur. It's either a sword in the stone or a sword from the Lady in the Lake. Depending on the iteration of the story, it's so much literature, so much TV, so much movies. Who doesn't know of the sword Excalibur? I mean, it's used in everything. Even Monty Python used it. I mean, and of course, it's the opposite of the Ebony Blade. It's the yin to the Ebony Blade's yang.
I mean, for me, it was
sword of justice.
Well, it was also the ultimate sword of worthiness. For going with the sword and the stone too. Only one person can pull this sword from the stone, and who has it is King, and King Arthur of the Round Table was the one who did it.
One of my favorite Disney films of all time is The Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, same.
Fantastic film. You know that. Me and you both had the artist.
Floyd Norman.
Thank you. Yes, Floyd Norman. One of the original Disney animators, hand-drawn. You've had some original sketches done for you.
And I had Madam Mim.
Yeah, you had a Madam Mim. And I had Merlin fighting Maleficent as a dragon.
Yeah.
I had him do that. So we've had some cool stuff between the two of us that he did for us. It was really nice.
Yeah.
Got to ban somebody. Okay, they've been banned. Done. What else can we say besides Excalibur gave us 5 seasons of an amazing BBC series called Merlin that you all need to watch, and shame on you if you have not watched it yet, because
wasn't that and it didn't end up in the lake though? Didn't he throw that in the lake?
I believe so.
Not the rock. So they went with that one instead of.
It was not in a stone.
Better.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Lady in the Lake one a little more. I don't know. It seems more believable than this sword being in a stone.
Yeah.
It's gonna get weathered and rust, and then like anybody can just break the sword. I don't know. It just seems. But I guess it would rust in the lake too. But
yeah, true. Very true.
And if you go to Disneyland, you can't get that thing out. But every now and then they'll like raise it up a little, and Merlin will come out and say hi. But they haven't done that forever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, they used to do that like every now and then. Or they would do like a kind of quick, like a show during the day, and a little kid, they'd always have like a grown-up try and pull it, and it wouldn't come out, and then a little kid would go and start to raise up. And they'd be like, "You're worthy!" Yeah. But you can't actually have the soul.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, what's the name of the Lady in the Lake?
Lady in the Lake?
Cheryl.
She had like a specific name.
It was Karen, I believe, yeah.
Oh, jeez, really?
Well, they drowned her. Yeah, you know, that's what happened. Yes, Maria, I was just getting to that. Yeah, no long claw, but specifically for me, in my taste, no needle as well. Needle did not make the list, although I would love to
honorable mention.
Had needle on the list. They were honorably mentioned. We did our best. There's actually surprisingly a lot of amazing swords, and we wanted to be a bit diverse in our list. We didn't want to just go all hardcore fantasy. We wanted to throw in some animation, some updated animation, some 80s animation. We wanted to do classic stories. We wanted to do comic books. We wanted to do, you know, pop culture in general. I think if you go over the list again, or if you rewatch, you'll see that it's a pretty balanced, pretty fair list that we've done, that we felt that was a great representation of our favorite top 12 swords. Now, is everything somebody's favorite? No. There's always going to be some arguments and differences. Some things I didn't feel should have made the list. Same thing with these other guys. But enough of us pushed for it that it did make the list. And, you know, it's a democracy here. So we went with what we had to. Speaking of democracy, you have a chance to eventually try some of the best beer that you will ever try in the whole United States, perhaps the world. And we are talking about Splattered Frog Brewing from the Splattered Frog Brewing Company. If you go to splatteredfrog.com, and I'm going to type it here, and you type in the code SHORTBOX, you receive 20% off on your order. And Chris, tell them what they have on the site currently right now that they can purchase.
They have hats, 2 different types of hats. They got the fit cotton hats or the trucker hats with the netting backs. You know, it's their preference of what you prefer. I think the cotton back ones are fit hats, so there's no strap. Then they also have oh no, so there's no strap.
Yeah, they're both that way.
Yeah, they're both that way. And then they also have I forgot.
Pint glasses.
Blogs, but they have what? They
pint
have
glasses.
But they're not. But they're on back order right now.
Right,
so
but you can still order them, and they will ship them when they're available. And they have shirts as well.
And shirts, that's the other thing. Yes, shirts.
Yeah.
See, they got any size the shirt you need, any size the shirt you want.
If your uncle's a 6X, they can get it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, shoot,
and if you
guys.
if you hate frogs, this is the beer for you because
they splatter them.
Yeah. Splattering the shit out of them.
Alex says he wants the booze. Alex, did you email or text Josh? I think I give you that information. So let me know. Text me later and let me know, and we'll talk about it.
So guys, I got the sorry, real quick. I got the name of the lady in the lake.
Oh,
it's Nimue or Vivian.
Oh, they do say her name in Merlin, Nimue, I believe.
Nimue,
yeah. Yeah, they do.
My name's Nimue, but you can call me Vivian. All right.
You think? Were you drinking beer at the time, Alex? Perhaps? Well, geez, Excalibur, that's it. That's number 1 on our list. That's our entire list. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, thank you for listening and watching us here at The Real Short Box. This was a nice one, a nice as short as you're going to get with us, short and sweet type podcast that we have. Next week's going to be another really, really fun podcast. It's going to be a bit of a surprise. We're going to post about it on our social media in the next couple days. So stay tuned for that. Do find us. Give us a like if you haven't given us a like yet. A thumbs up on here on YouTube. That would be great. We really appreciate that. Give us a subscription follow. Tell your friends. Tell your friends that all the giveaways we have and all the fun things we do. In fact, maybe I'll do a giveaway from home. I'll just pick something out of my room and give it away. Because I've got a lot of stuff still at home here in Ohio that should go. So maybe I'll do that as well. But we're going to have some fun next week. Following week, we're going to have some fun as well. We've got something very special planned for that day, that date as well. So please stay tuned for that. Oh, okay, Sean. Very cool. Yennevi from Wheel of Time is based on Yinue. Alex says he wants the sword. This sword right here, I don't think you can handle the power, buddy. Like, you know, you can have the sword, but you can't wield it. So what's the use, right? Like, I have the power. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thanks to Half's Hot Sauce and Splatter Frog for being our sponsors. We very much appreciate them. And thank you all for listening and watching. Every Thursday, Friday, usually it's either Thursday or Friday, we put out a new podcast. A new audio podcast. It's a lot of fun. That is available on almost all podcast platforms, so check us out there if you can. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, all the big ones. And then you can find us on the little ones too. If you want to try to find us on something and you can't, let us know, and we'll get on that podcast platform for you if that's your preferred listening podcast system. I don't know what to say there. But that's it. Anybody else here have anything to say?
Hey, thank you for joining us again. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends, family, and enemies about the real Short Box.
And if you don't see us, out and about in the real world with face masks on our faces, maybe you'll see us at
the courageous, distinct, but always energetic comic book shop.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, man!
And the master